Alright, hello all, this is me, Patrick. Um, I just want to try a new thing. I want to make videos for YouTube, but I keep running into the problem of not knowing what to make, right? I've always been fascinated by reviewing things and critiquing stories in general. Acting, I'm not a good judge of character there. Acting is a very personalized experience, and viewing it from the outset can be very difficult without knowing the person. So I So I'm gonna try this, right? I'm gonna choose a random show on Netflix. I'm about to log into Netflix. The first show it recommends me, I'm going to do a sort of diary of each episode, my thoughts on it, my thoughts on the characters, and where I think the show's going to be going. I think this will be good for me because I'm really struggling with not only things to do in general during my free time, but shows to watch. Uh, I don't like everything, but I feel like I can enjoy every demographic of media to an extent. So I think this will be a fun test. Uh, if the show's long, I'll still watch it. If the show's short, I'll still watch it. But I want to try something new. First TV show I haven't seen, because if I have seen it, I already know my thoughts on it, and I'll have a conflicting thought upon the show. So I want to go into a show brand new, knowing pretty much nothing. A lot of the shows on Netflix I've never ever heard of, or well, okay, it's like I have seen on Netflix, but I probably won't know what it is or heard much about the story in general, besides a trailer or two. So I'm here, and I have a few hours free, so I'm gonna watch a few episodes now, and see where that takes me. I want to experience a new show that I'm interested in. I've found a lot of shows that I really like, that aren't for me, I know for the female audience, for a younger audience, for an older audience. So I'm looking to find a show like that. So I'm gonna log into Netflix now, and the first TV show it recommends me, whatever it is, I will watch it. All right. So log into my account. All right. Well, I don't want it to do that. I think there's a show. Yeah. Okay. So this is Ultraman. It's a Netflix original. It's the first show that's been recommended to me. And like I said, I will watch it. And I'll go through each episode. Let's first look at the info of the show. All right, let's see. Decades ago, a hero from the stars left this world in. Well, decades ago, a hero from the stars left this world in peace. Now the son of Ultraman must rise to protect the Earth from a new alien threat. Okay, so it looks like a CG animated show. Those are always risky. Uh, with sort of the Japanese anime aesthetic, which I don't know if it's an American show or an English show, sort of Western show. Oh no, it's based on a manga. Okay, so if it's based on a manga, it's a Japanese property. And if it's based on a manga, it's probably got a few chapters, a few good chapters. Um, I think only one season's out. Yeah, only one season out. Okay, that's doable. I assume 13 episodes? Yeah, 13 episodes. Um, how long are each episode? Half an hour. Okay, yeah, this is fine. I said I'll do it. I just wanted to see what I'd think of it. So I'm gonna go through each episode. I will write whatever notes I can on my little trusty notepad here. Uh, I have my chocolate croissant. That's a bit squashed and but that's my food. Um, I know nothing about the show. I know it's definitely not for me. It kind of looks like a mecha show. Um, I think. I don't know. I know nothing about this. But it's a bit sci-fi, and I've never been a big fan of the Japanese sci-fi things. So I've like a Ghost in the Shell. I'm not a big fan of, but I get why people like it. A lot of the mecha shows I'm not a big fan of, but I get why people like them. And there's a 3D CG show, and those are usually not very good. Let's, I don't think I've seen a lot of good ones. Um, Not that the art represents the story of the characters. It's more like me being engaged and finding it appealing to watch. Um, so, I'll pause this recording, and I'll come back with my thoughts, and I'll let you know what I think. Alright, see you in half an hour, I guess. Okay, so I finished the first episode of Ultraman, and first impressions, like straight up, I think the show itself, this season, has potential for me to be interested and invested. Um, the pacing of the episode was really good. I felt like things were happening the whole time. I never felt like, well, I think in hindsight there were scenes that were dragging on and maybe deserved to be cut, but I don't know. Um, at the time they seemed important, and I was still interested and invested within the scenes. Um, I think over my biggest complaints, other than Shinjiro at the main character, uh, is the animation. As I said before, I think the 3D CGI isn't always the best choice. There are some shows that really suit the style, and then there are other shows where you just might as well not bother. And I kind of feel like this is it. Um, at the beginning, there were a lot of scenes of the characters just walking around and talking and just setting the universe up. Well, the characters within the universe and their spot within it, more than the universe itself, I guess. And those scenes were pretty bland to watch. It was kind of like, here's a grey room with tiles, the characters are talking, uh, or yeah, that's pretty. It was just pretty much people in grey rooms talking, and the frame rate for the animation within those moments, within the scenes of them just sitting around talking, are like 15 frames a second. There is a huge difference between the frame rate for the scenes of people just standing around talking and the action, which is obvious. You know, they'd spend more time and effort on the action scenes to make them look good compared to people just standing around and talking. But those scenes look garbage in comparison. Like, I can barely watch those scenes without just being irritated and bored because it's just so bland and boring. I just have to focus on the dialogue because there's nothing else to intrigue me as a viewer. I might as well just listen to it in the background and have a better experience for it because I can just imagine the scene in my head. Um, so I don't think the CG, they should have used the CG here. I think standard 2D animation would have better suited the show. Um, kind of. I get. See, the thing is, the action scenes, the scenes where people are jumping off rooftops, or punching, or just movement, like extreme levels of movement, are really cool. Like, there's a scene where Shinjiro is escaping from the bad guy from the episode. I don't know if he's gonna be a bad guy for the series or what. Um, but he jumps off a building to escape and lands in a soccer stadium. And the animation of him jumping and falling into the stadium and landing was really well done. It was wonderful to watch, and I was entertained, and I wanted to see more of that. Uh, so the action scenes are definitely worth watching here. I think that's the big thing to keep me hooked into the show will be the action. And the pacing for the action was really well done too. There'd be beat, rest, beat, rest. And that was entertaining. That was really well done. Interwoven dialogue within those action scenes was done well too. It was less, oh, let's stand around and talk. It's more like, let's do emotion, let's do an action while talking, which is always the better way to do it. Um, And up for the beginning of the episode, Matt Mercer, the voice actor, was narrating the beginning, and I just love Matt Mercer in general. Any Critical Role fan will. So that's just a plus in general. The moment I heard his voice, I was automatically excited to watch the show. The children in the show, even though we only had, I don't know, a 5-minute scene with Shinjiro as a child, he was horrifying looking. Like, these people cannot make a child model not look scary. Like, their head is just overly sized. Proportions look, it looks like, it scared me when I saw it, I'll be real. Um, what else should I mention here? Yeah, the father's friend, Shinjiro's father, his old work colleague in the brownish suit. He's obviously going to be a bad guy for the series. I don't know. It did the thing that a lot of antagonists get when they get introduced to a show, but they're not really the antagonist yet. Of seeing only their feet walk into the scene and then rise up to their head. It's like a big reveal. It's like, oh, it's this guy. Um, but as an audience, we don't know who that character is, so that whole reveal is kind of useless. So I think he's probably going to be the bad guy, just with the setting, the way he's been talking. Uh, the general feel I get from the character is a bit sketchy. Shinjiro's father. Uh, I should say Shinjiro's father's friend. Whatever. It's like it starts with an M or something. Um, he his character is fine. We haven't seen much of him, and what we have seen of him was 10 years prior to where the story actually starts. Um, but he was fine. You know, he was clearly a businessman with intentions of doing the right thing, ignoring the sketchiness. If we ignore the sketchiness and just focus on what he said in the dialogue scenes, he he seems to be a very passionate man about, doing the right thing and protecting the ones close to him. Him That's evident by him saying to Shinjiro's father, "Hey, we knew you were Ultraman, but we wanted to keep that still top secret so that way people wouldn't kidnap you and your son and do weird tests on you." So, I still think he's an antagonist. He's got some ulterior motive here. But I do believe he wants to protect his friend Shinjiro's father and Shinjiro from other people getting hold of the Ultraman DNA or whatever it is. I still confused on that side of things because in the first episode, Ultraman is introduced as an actual being. He's got the metal suit. He looks like a cyborg, and apparently they like mixed with a human or whatever, and that's Shinjiro's father. He was the human side of Ultraman like 20 years ago. It was the very beginning. It was like there was a human with Ultraman. They came together to defeat the kaiju, and then Ultraman fucked off, but the human side stayed, and that story off into history after a decade. It's like a decade's 10 years, guys. Uh, I remember what happened 10 years ago. It's not like, oh, it's a mythic story now. No, people would be if if there was an actual superhero called Ultraman doing things in the world, like fighting kaiju, his story wouldn't just become mythic, a tale to tell the children of this mysterious warrior from another world. Like a fairy tale, the story wouldn't be told like a fairy tale if it's only been 10 years. That's kind of ridiculous. But I guess from that point, there's another 10 years. It's kind of been like 20 years since then. But still, it wouldn't just become a fairy tale, a mythic tale to put in the history books or something. And the show said that, and I sorry, that's just a small thing that the show said in one sentence that I was like, that I don't know. It's a bit weird. Shinjiro's father, he's got "I'm going to die" very soon, like just edged across his chest. Because he's clearly the emotional motivation for Shinjiro to move forward. They've set up the love interest for Shinjiro, which, as an audience member, I don't care right now because I don't know who she is, and Shinjiro doesn't know who she is. Shinjiro just likes her because she's cute, but not even really that. His Shinjiro's friends more forced the situation, so the love interest isn't really a love interest right now, but obviously will be a love interest. Um, yeah. Oh, another thing with Shinjiro's father. Shinjiro's father is obviously that father character. Sorry. You know, he's clearly respected. He's very prideful. I wouldn't say intelligent. I don't think they've shown signs of him being intelligent, but they've implied that he's intelligent. Not like super brainiac genius, but like he has a high-ish IQ. Let's say 130, maybe 140 IQ, maybe. Um, there's not much to say about Shinjiro's father because he was only in the prequel scenes, and they were only there to establish the Ultraman storyline. And then you go to Shinjiro's time, so 10 years after that, and that's more focusing on Shinjiro and the love interest uh, than Shinjiro's father. So yeah, I'll have to wait. Hopefully Shinjiro's father doesn't die. But if he does, I called it. Now lastly, Shinjiro himself. Uh, Shinjiro has signs of being a character made for a power fantasy. You know, you've got the typical male, you've got the typical young male. I have not read the manga. I don't know anything about the show. So this show could be still made to be a power fantasy. Don't know. He's yeah, he's a male. He's a young male. Sorry, typical young male. Sort of. You know, he wants to do the right thing, but doesn't. He's shy, so that's another thing. You know, he's the awkward guy that doesn't really want to get into social situations until he's forced to, and he has the personality of a protector. You know that, which will obviously come into play when he's Ultraman or whatever later on, when he has to protect people. That whole scene of him protecting the love interest, like for some bullies or whatever, which will probably come back because those characters had a little bit more detail than they would usually have. And Shinjiro broke one of their legs. Usually when, in those types of scenes where the hero is standing up for the love interest, it's like, hey, you bully, you better leave or I'm gonna kick your butt. In those scenes, it goes one of two ways. Either the main character beats the crap out of the bullies, or the bullies beat the crap out of the guy. But this one had a weird ending of the main character, Shinjiro, coming up saying, hey, you bullies, you better get out of the way, and then breaking one of their legs by accident. So it wasn't, oh, it's not he didn't beat them up. Really, it was an accident, and he didn't get beaten up. He kind of just ran away. So it's an in between. So I think they're gonna come back. I think the whole leg breaking thing is just setting up another storyline for Shinjiro. I think probably his high school storyline is probably his high school storyline is probably gonna involve the love interest and the bully with the white hair. And the Ultraman storyline will involve Ultraman and his father's friend. So we're already seeing set up for two different storylines here. sub storyline being the high school stuff, the main storyline being the Ultraman storyline, and I assume by like if there's 13 episodes, by episode 7 they'll start merging, but not quite merge. That's my prediction. Man, 13 episodes. There's gonna be some filler here. I feel it. Um, just because if Ultraman is the villain, they've brought him in real early. I don't know. So if I'm gonna put a time frame on how long Shinjiro's father's got left, it's gonna be next episode. I think Shinjiro's father's gonna die next episode. I think the bully's going to come back. No, no, no. I don't think. I think the bully's gonna come back third episode. I think the love interest is gonna be introduced next episode, second episode. They'll have their thing. It'll be more focused on Shinjiro's high school life, and the Ultraman stuff will be in the background, unlike in this time, which was sort of equal. So we have equal now. Next episode, more high school, a little bit of Ultraman, and the third episode will be more Ultraman, and a little bit of high school, and then we'll merge together in some point somewhere in there. That's my prediction right now. Sorry for this diary entry being a little longer than intended. But I really want to get my thoughts across, and in the next few episodes, they'll definitely be shorter, just because, well, there's going to be less for me to mention. In this episode, it was important for me to mention the characters and what they were, and the story itself. In the next one, all I'll have to do is talk about what the characters have been doing and how the story is progressing, and my thoughts upon that. So, the first episode's always going to be a long episode for these if I continue to do it, and I think I will, because I have been enjoying talking about it. But we'll just see. Alright, well, thank you for watching. I'll see you in episode 2. If I can turn off the